Taters! Potatoes!
Make the most of every day. Make the most of what God gave with good, simple living.
We're gonna pull up some taters, see if there's any taters
First
in
of
this
all,
soil.
record your...
I did the pumpkin seeds from hell.
I can't even pick plums off of our freaking tree now because we've got this massive expanse of pumpkin.
I think we planted a Jack and the Beanstalk bean.
What you planted?
Dinosaur pumpkins.
So basically, a couple years ago, we made this a potato bed.
Can't hear you over the freeway behind
A
us.
couple of years ago, we used this area as a potato bed using our wood chips, which potatoes love. You don't even need to, basically you just, I'm waiting for the car. Basically you just stick a potato and a bunch of wood chips and it grows like crazy. We haven't watered these, we haven't done anything to them whatsoever. And they pop out of the ground. I didn't plant anything here. This is probably just some leftover remnant of potato that got left behind. There's another plant here. Hopefully no snakes.
Oh, I know. I was just thinking about my butt right now.
So we're just gonna pull these and see what we get. I'm curious because we actually planted a few rows in our side garden. So I'm using this to gauge and assess where we're at. Here we go. You wanna get in on this, Mama?
I'm in on it.
So potato plants will grow and eventually flower and kind of start to brown and wilt and die. And their flowers will eventually turn into these little, I guess they're seed pods essentially. But
They look like berries.
You can kind of use that as a reference as far as when your potatoes might be done. So let's pull it up and see what we get. This plant will probably just come out with a few small little potatoes on it. There's a couple small little baby reds. You can discard. See, I think it's just some of these little stragglers I got left behind and actually made these new plants. Because I didn't clean up very well last time. But we'll start digging through here by hand and see what we get. You can see how nice the soil is. This is all just broken down wood chips, guys. A nice one there.
Ooh, that's a big one. Oh, that's a big red. Those are nice too.
You see how nice and clean they come out in the wood chips.
This is all from one little volunteer plant.
Yeah, so from one of these being left behind, we're getting all this. Which again speaks to how awesome wood chips are. Cannot say enough good things about wood chips. Super nervous about snakes. Look at how many are growing just on the surface of the wood chips. They're not even in the ground. Look at that. Freaky looking.
That is weird.
No snakes.
No snakes.
Look at this. It's ridiculous.
There's so many little babies.
This plant has leprosy. Ugh. I like the way that looks.
Nevaeh doesn't like clusters. And look at how they're growing. Little plants already.
Oh, yeah. Just because they were touching the wood chips. Again, that's all it takes. These things are insane. So freaky looking. Little spuds growing on little spuds and new plants already. You can replant that and get new potatoes.
We shall do that.
That's how...
Get some fall taters going. Oh, look at that one. It looks like the devil.
It looks like you know what it looks like? What's that damn cartoon?
Teletubby?
No. Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like Shrek.
Remember Kira's Mickey Mouse potato?
It even has a mouth on it. That is crazy. Shrek potato.
That's fun.
Here's our plum tree for the guy who commented on one of our videos saying that the plums we get aren't real because they're so plentiful.
Yeah, that guy was funny.
It's not possible. That's not even your tree.
No, he found, we posted a picture of this tree and then he like Google imaged it and then found the picture of it on Google because, you know, it had been shared for an article that I wrote on plums. And so he's like, this isn't even your tree. I found this image on Google, which was pretty funny because he then linked everyone to my article, which I appreciated. But that's what you get when you go online. All right, we're underneath our tree. I found a ripe one. Wow.
Yeah, you can't grow plums like that.
It's like
That's
an
not
umbrella.
how plums grow.
You're gonna need to get over it.
Wood chips, baby. Wood chips.
Okay. Good old wood chips.
This plant is also insane. We actually planted this one. This is a leftover half rotten remnant of a potato that was literally rotting in the sun, that I jokingly just tossed under our plum tree in the shade in some wood chip, like heavy wood chip material. And this plant has grown to a point that is comical.
That's a big potato
It's
plant.
huge, and it was literally a half of a rotten potato that went in the ground.
Let's see what.
I'm really curious to see what we get here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're like under an umbrella tree right now.
Keeps going. Look how big it is. Growing in the shade, because you can't grow potatoes in the shade. They need full sun.
That's what they say in the garden books.
Here, look.
That's a big potato too.
Yeah, can't be done.
All right, that's our potatoes from our couple little volunteer plants. It's probably like 8 pounds of potatoes.
Super heavy.
Organic reds, just like that. We're eating taters for dinner.
Good potatoes too.
Good potatoes.
Fresh
They're
out the ground.
So good, fresh out the ground.
Tastes so much better. They actually have flavor, and
They don't taste like mold.
no, they taste delicious. They're so good.
I never realized how bad store potatoes tasted.
Yeah, they're
Like,
bland.
you can literally taste kind of the just mildew in them. If you know how like a potato smells, it shouldn't smell like that. But it's just because they're old and they've been sitting in a truck or a warehouse.
It's like everything out of the garden, but especially root vegetables, potatoes and
Root
carrots.
vegetables, yep.
When you pull them,
And garlic.
they have a smell to them. Garlic. I mean, it's overwhelming how good they smell, how good they taste. It's nothing like store bought. It's entirely different. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be called, like, referred to as being the same thing, because they're not.
Yeah.
So ordinarily we don't pull these things out of the ground all at the same time, because we like to preserve them in the ground as much as possible, just to maintain their level of nutrients, flavor, all that good stuff. But since we ran our test yesterday, and we have plans here in the coming days to go back to Idaho, I think it's worthwhile at this point just to pull everything.
Because what better to bring to Idaho than
Some
Washington
Makes
potatoes?
total sense. So, yeah, let's see what we get.
We like to bring as much of our own food when we go over there so that we're not eating gut bombs, eating our normal diet.
We can. So what I mean by harvesting and replanting at the same time is you can pull all your potatoes up, dig them up, and with that same hole, you can take your biggest and best potatoes, like that'd be a good seed potato. You can literally stick it right back in the ground where you just harvested, rebury it, and you are planted for the fall or for next year. It's a really quick process, and it always works out well.
And always put your biggest and best back in. That's how you're going to
biggest
get.
and best back. You want to.
It's hard to do because you want to eat the biggest and best ones, but same with garlic. You always put the best
You
back.
get out of it what you put into it. So we always put our biggest and best back to ensure that our future crops are awesome, healthy, strong.
So we got all that from that one little tipped over plant.
I love harvesting potatoes. They're a lot of fun because you don't know what you're about to get. And you pull the plant up.
It's kind of like Easter egg
All
hunting.
a big mystery. Yeah, it's like Christmas. You've seen the plants come up. You've been wondering the whole time, and you finally get to open everything up and see what you've got under the ground.
Unless you're a naughty child and you sneak and you peek. Like I already knew there were going to be 18 potatoes in that hole.
Right.
From 2 potato plants, we've got well over 10 pounds of potatoes. And we have a lot. We've got more rows back there. I think we'll keep those ones in the ground. There's no reason to dig all those up, but maybe we'll just harvest this front row and then leave the other potatoes going.
Something else to point out, when you build your soil up and you don't till, and you use more of a layering method, see how the soil stays nice and loose like that, to where I'm able to just dig through here by hand. If I were to till, if we were to till, this whole thing would just be pan soil, and I'd have to be getting a pitchfork and a shovel to get all of our potatoes out. But because we've built up and established some real nice soil here, I can just dig through with my hand and see what we've got. Don't till your soil, people. It destroys it.
And be careful with potato plants because they are in the nightshade family. So are tomato plants, but they carry a little bit less of, I forgot, the name is escaping my mind. I'll write it down below. But it's something that is in the plant that in large quantities can be poisonous.
Yeah, so don't go through and feed all of this to your chickens.
Yeah,
or
don't throw like a giant pile of potato plants into your chickens. I mean, if you're pruning like tomatoes or something like that, it's okay. But, you know, don't give them all of your fall tomato plants all at once. Don't feed them. I wouldn't feed them potato plants at all. They're just kind of known to be a toxic plant for animals.
We do give some to our chickens, but not very much.
Not potato plants. I don't think we ever have.
And here's how potatoes work. You see that right there? That is the original seed potato.
That slimy guy?
Yeah, that's kind of rotting in the ground. So off that one little half a spud, we're going to get 10 plus potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato.
We're almost full. All right, so that is one single row of potatoes. And we got 5 gallons of good reds.
And we've got another 4 or 5 to go.
Yeah.
So we should end up with like 20 gallons worth of potatoes, and this thing is super heavy.
Yep, and because it's still July, we have time to plant again for fall potatoes. So we'll probably take our biggest ones and we're going to replant this row, and then when we get through those potatoes, probably before that even, because we like to have potatoes into fall and winter, we will probably pull up this row and then we'll head over and do the rest. But for now, we're going to keep them in the ground. That's where they stay the freshest.
Yep.
During the really rainy season, you want to get them out of the ground because they will rot.
And because our soil is good, we don't till, like I said, it's not compacted at all.
Mm-hmm.
Our soil is already prepped for replanting. The potatoes that we stick back in here now will be ready for harvest. It's July, it'll be ready in October, November. So we'll have some Thanksgiving potatoes ready to go. We'll come back out here morning of Thanksgiving and grab the potatoes we need for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, carrots too. People always laugh at us for serving carrots at Thanksgiving, but they're out of the garden, so.
And they're so good.
Sorry,
Again,
Mom, we're having carrots again for Thanksgiving.
Don't till your soil. Everybody tills soil because potatoes need light, fluffy soil, but look at this stuff. If you don't till it, it'll be fine. And our soil is already prepped and ready to go. I'm just gonna take these potatoes, literally make a little hole, stick them back in, bury them up, and we've replanted. It's good, that's all it takes. Again, for harvest, how do most people harvest their potatoes? They'll take a shovel or a pitchfork and dig into the ground. What that does is stabs your potatoes and makes them all messy, chops them up, gets dirt in the middle of them. It's
You
no
cannot
good.
keep them if you.
Yeah, it's gross.
Once you've cut into them, they're gonna rot.
This is the way to do it. It's awesome. Look how clean they come out. Don't till your soil.
Don't till your soil.
Don't till your soil. I know it's counterintuitive, but trust me, don't till your soil. Just try it, implement it, and you'll see awesome results.
I think that's the title of our video. Don't till your soil. All right, after much deliberation, actually like 10 seconds of deliberation, we decided that if we preserve this row and we replant here, we're gonna end up disturbing the new plants. So we're actually gonna go ahead and pull out this back row, and then we're gonna replant 2 rows for fall. Because we really do need to get fall potatoes going in July if we wanna have them in October. If we wait too much longer, they're not gonna mature. All right, we were almost able to fill up 5 well, 3 5-gallon buckets, so it's more like 15 gallons of potatoes, maybe 14 gallons because they're not totally to the top, but way more than we thought was in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to dig 2 new trenches, and we're going to get these replanted for the fall. He's going to compost these potato plants back into compost that we will use in the spring for next year's garden. Okay, so Eli's been picking beans and he really wants to show you. Show them what you picked. It's a lot of beans. So what we're going to do now is we've got our trenches ready and we are going to pick out our biggest and best for seed potatoes. These are not our biggest and best, but they're my only Yukon Golds that I found. They were just, I don't even know why, mixed in. And I want some more Yukon Golds, so I'm going to plant these. And I'm not going to be dividing those up because they're little, but for like these big ones, if you look at all these little divots, these are where the roots are going to come out. This is where they're called eyes. And out of each eye will grow a root, and then it will send out runners and grow new potatoes. So you want to look for ones that have lots of eyes on them. Since there's eyes on the upper side and eyes on the underside, I'm actually going to divide this potato in half. And we will plant it like this so that all the new plants will grow up out of the soil, out of the eyes. So it's okay to cut your potatoes in half, in quarters, whatever you want, just to kind of prolong it. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the biggest potatoes that we have. This is a pretty big one. This is a pretty big one. It's got lots of eyes on it. So this is going to make a great seed potato. You want to plant them eye side up so the plant grows up out of the eyes about 10 to 12 inches apart.
Okay, that's it guys. We've got our potato harvested for the remainder of the summer. We took our biggest and best, replanted it back in our soil, and we are good to go for fall potatoes. So stay tuned, we'll do a future episode harvesting those. And until then, keep watching. Go ahead and give us a like, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you.